Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting. All right, coming to you today with lesson 9, which is my thesis on sales funnels. So we're going to talk a bit about how I come about strategizing how I set up my sales funnels, but also some of the core beliefs that I use to underpin my strategies in sales funnels. So it's in the name is where the main strategy comes from, sales. Understand this, a sales funnel is not a website. A sales funnel is a visual representation of your sales process in terms of we want to capture lead data. Okay. So if we were out prospecting, okay, and let's say we were doing door to door. Okay. The first stage of the funnel, which is the lead magnet, would be us out knocking, saying, hey, we've got XYZ product and service, and we're out here doing Y, okay, today. And how would we capture that lead data? So there's two ways that we could do that manually in person. One, we could write down their name, number, email address, and all of that. Or two, we might have a CRM that we're inputting the data into. So think about it like this. For a sales funnel, this is just your sales process online. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to simplify our sales process to be 3 steps or 4 steps or 5 steps. However many steps you want to make it is however complex you want to make it. Remember, simplicity is key. Okay. We don't need anything more than a funnel lead magnet, a one-on-one appointment booking funnel, and then a sales funnel. We don't really need too much more than that. You can have more than that, but it's sort of, it becomes a bit irrelevant and overworking. Now, if you were to selling a product, potentially you may have an order bump upsell, you might have a downsell, you might have a one-time only offer, and all of this. So you can go to that extent. But for what we're doing here, the basics is what we're looking for. When you're getting your first sales funnel up and running, we just want the basics. We want to get it operational, and then we want to look to optimize and maximize, the value per client or the value of the customer. Okay. And how do we do that? By offering more products and services to sell. Okay. So that's one of the beautiful things, is that we can have this as the base level, but then we could have 5 more steps of 5 different products or services that we would add in. Okay. If a client wanted to go that way, but it's irrelevant to try and do it before you've launched your sales funnel, because you're trying to map the journey of a buyer before you've even experienced that buyer. So for example, think about what I like to do is think about your sales process. So when you're on the phone or when you're in person, what does your sales process look like? Okay. So we get new lead in, there has to be a call or a meeting or something like that brought up. Typically, I'll explain to you how it operates and how it's operated for pretty much every company I've ever worked for and with. Is we'll have new lead comes into the CRM. Okay, great. We've got new leads in. Call, text, email, done in the first day. From the call, we want to qualify the buyer, and then we want to set up the second meeting. So how do we want to qualify the buyer? Well, we don't want to know everything about the buyer in the first meeting, but we want to qualify them to know that the buyer is interested in the product or service that we're selling. The buyer has a problem or a situation that they want to resolve, or an opportunity that they want to take advantage of. The buyer knows that, with their problem, that it's more efficient or more effective to go with someone else and have someone else help you do it than to try and do everything on their own. If a buyer wants to do everything on their own, that's great. Don't waste your time on them. It's pointless to waste your time on them. If they know boats, they know boats. Okay, that's a little inside joke in sales, is there's always an I know boats guy. No matter what you sell, what you do, there'll be someone who'll try and tell you, yeah, I've done this for 20, 30 years, and they don't know jack and they don't know shit. Okay? So ignore those people, get them out of your process, and think about this. We want to have the smoothest transition from new lead from marketing or web traffic through to conversion. That's our goal. Our goal is to have a simple path to the conversion. Okay. The goal of sales for any salesperson is to have a new buyer come in, a prospect that doesn't understand anything about the product or the service, and to educate them to the sale. Okay. So we create a path or a process to the sale. And then for every buyer, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. The process is designed to get the end result. So the process of this sales funnel is designed to educate and inform a buyer to the value of the product. Okay. But now when we're getting into sales, okay, you can sit there and say, you know, I want you to buy this product. You should buy this product. This product is great, which won't really convert at a very high level and you'll struggle to make ends meet. Otherwise, you can create an experience of why your business or your company or you are different from the rest. What do they get when they purchase through you? What is the experience that they have? What are they looking to achieve? Is your process aligned to their desired result or their desired end goal? Okay, these are some key things to understand when setting up the sales funnel, because essentially what we are doing throughout the whole process is we are positioning the buyer for the close. Okay, so however that looks to you, typically in sales, it's quite easy. Increase the certainty to the maximum level so that the buyer is certain that this is the right product, that you are the right salesperson, and that the company is the company that they want to go with and do business with. Okay, it's as simple as that. And if we get those three things done, the likelihood of a buyer buying is quite high. But that doesn't mean that there isn't work to do in the close. Okay, so we're not positioning the buyer by giving them every scrap of detail at the start. We're positioning the buyer by giving them enough detail so that they understand the concept, so that they understand the value of the product or service, so that they understand the utilization of the product and service. And most importantly, they understand how it can either benefit or reduce their losses. Okay. Typically, you know, depending on your sales process, your product, your service, whatever it may be, you get two choices. So we can either sell by our buyers feeling empowered and feeling confident in their decision making, or we can sell by our buyers fearing a negative outcome and wanting to avoid that negative outcome. Okay, now the downside to the negative side of it is if we use fear to dictate the buyer's responses, typically we have to do some under-toe things. So for example, in the property market, okay, we got two ways that we can sell a property to a potential buyer. The first is, you know, this is an amazing property, you know, it's in a great location, it's your dream property, you know, it's available now and you can get into it. And the other way is, if we wait 6 months, these properties will not be available. Properties will not be available in this area in the next 6 months, as a lot of them will be bought. Now, depending on what you're selling in terms of, if we're selling property, if we're selling pre-existing, it's a little bit different to if we're selling new, because new properties require land. So either there's two ways you can go about it. You can buy pre-existing and then demolish the house and rebuild, or you can buy land and then build a house. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the pre-existing market, the pre-existing market will always have sellers and buyers. There'll always be people selling and everything. But is it in your price range? So with the pre-existing market, it doesn't move as quickly as the new market, but it does move significantly. So we're talking, in specific suburbs, we could see, depending on the property market and depending on the city that we're looking at, if it's a major capital in Australia, let's take Brisbane, for example. Generally, 6 to 12 months, we're going to see anywhere from $30,000 to $150,000 in growth. Okay. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get that, but it means the likelihood that the prices will jack up in that price range in 6 months is quite high. Okay. Prices rarely ever go down. They usually only ever go up. The only time a property price will go down is if it's over the median, or not the median, but if it's over the market value of the property. So for example, you can take Sydney's property market. Sydney's property markets are usually around 1,500% above the market value of the product. So we're talking like $1.4, $1.6 million for a house and land package that typically would be worth maybe $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 at most. Okay, generally, 4 to 450. But the reason that the price is so high is because of the population density. So because there's so much population there, and that land and property is scarcer, okay, what happens is there's highly desirable locations or suburbs, and then people start buying in there, and then a buying frenzy happens, and then people look to take advantage of that, and they increase their prices dramatically. Now, what this does is that leaves a buyer, if you buy at the top end of the price cycle, then you have a high risk of loss. Whereas if you buy at the lower end of the pricing cycle, you have more opportunity for growth. Okay. So just understanding those few things, we're able to position our buyers by letting them know that, hey, if you want to do this, we can do this every day of the week. If you want to wait 6 months, that's great. We can wait 6 months, but there will be an incurred cost. Tomorrow's best price is always today's price. Today's best price is always yesterday's price. The benefit of taking action now means you save money in the future. Okay. Now, there are a couple of different industries where that is reversed. One of them being technology. Technology generally will become cheaper the longer it is out. So sometimes there's a great argument, for example, if you're getting solar systems, on why it's beneficial to maybe wait until there's something in your price range or in your required size. Okay, so understanding those few aspects will really allow you to position your sales funnel to basically mirror your manual sales process or your in-person sales process or over the phone sales process online. Okay, and what this allows you to do is a sales funnel can run 24/7. Your marketing can run 24/7. You don't have to be on the phone 24/7. Okay, so this allows us to maximize our individual effectiveness because we can have this running, and to the ideal buyer, this is the process or experience that they want to take when buying. Now, remember this, okay? When it comes to anything to do with sales, okay, perfection is not what we look for. What we look for is performance. And you can never become a high performer without first putting in the effort. So, for example, if we spend 6 months building, refining, and fine-tuning a sales funnel, and we've never launched it, it's not going to perform well. We have to launch it, and then we have to test and measure the responses from the buyers, because that is going to give us the indications of where the value is, what the buyer's desires are, and where their attention is. And then we just align the buyer's attention and our product or service. All right. Other things to remember in a sales funnel, okay, that I hold true and that I utilize is video content. You don't sell over text. You don't influence anyone over text. Okay, we can chuck free there, but free doesn't influence anyone. Free is just describing that you're not going to pay for this. What influences someone is the video, is us demonstrating, is us talking about it, is us explaining it. Okay, testimonials, while they used to be good, typically majority of people or majority of businesses do mislead their testimonials in terms of majority of them are fake. Same with reviews and things like that. I've worked for many companies where they wanted me to get friends and family to put up fake reviews to try and boost their ranking and things like that. Whatever you do, don't do that. Your testimonial should be a representation of the value you provide. Don't lie. It's irrelevant to lie. It's pointless to lie. Lying will only make you perform at a lower level further on down the sale. Be honest and do what's required, okay? So if you don't have testimonials, don't have testimonials. It's not the end of the world. Testimonials aren't the be-all, end-all, okay? It's irrelevant. People think that it's proof of concept. It's not really proof of concept because, one, you don't know the relationship that I have to these two people, okay? You don't understand that, like, if this is accurate or if it's not, if it's something that, you know, I've made up or I've asked someone to say a specific thing. Now, I would never do that personally because I think it's pointless and it's always better. That's why I use testimonials as messages, where I ask people what they think about the product that I've offered them and if they could just give me their honest feedback, okay? Typically, the more you invest into your product or your lead magnet, okay, the more authentic of a response that you will get and the more genuine of a response that you get. So if you've got a dog shit lead magnet that's worthless and that isn't anything and that you're not actually giving any value, good luck getting testimonials, okay? So remember that the goal behind these sales funnels is to mirror your sales process in terms of what do you need to overcome and what milestones do you need to hit with your buyer to lead them to their sale, okay? Other things that are of less importance in terms of, you know, sales funnels and things like that is the words we use. The words we use make up 10% of our communication, or even 5%. I don't know. It's around that number. Okay. The majority of our language is subconscious. The tones we use, okay, the tonalities we use infer different information than the words we say. Okay. The facial expressions that we use, how congruent we are in terms of, do we show up in the same way each time, or is there volatility between how we show up? Do we do what we say we're going to do? Is there confidence that if we say we're going to do something that we do it? Okay. This is very important because these are the keys to sales. Congruency, okay? Showing up in the same way each time. Showing up to new buyers in the same way each time. Presenting your information in the same way each time, okay? What we want to do is, it's not about just repeating the same things, but it's about having the same undertones in each conversation. Bringing the focus to the same key areas or key aspects of the product or service, okay? And what we do is, through testing and measuring, by driving traffic to our leads or our lead funnel and our funnels, we're able to see, you know, how are these words impacting buyers? How is this offer impacting buyers? Are they taking it up? Are they not taking it up? Do we need to lower the price? Do we need to increase the price? Do we need to add in some extra inclusions? Do we need to display the information in a different way? Okay, many different things. So think about your conversations when you're selling. Okay, generally we want to have a structured conversation that is highly similar each time, but we want to mold it to the buyer. Okay, so for example, we're not molding it to every buyer, but we want to mold it to the ideal buyer, and the responses from the ideal buyer will tell us if we're aligned with them or non-aligned with them. Okay, or not aligned with them. So that is a key thing to understand. We're not trying to change the process for every buyer, but we're trying to identify who are our ideal buyers, and then we want to mold our process around them. And then we want to look to optimize and create more efficiency and perform at a higher level and have more impact in our copy and things like that in our offer, so that we can expand out from just our ideal buyers to now some more different types of buyers. Okay, or we can look to sort of do a little bit of alchemy and look to condition all buyers into becoming our ideal buyer. That way is a little bit more complex, but we'll get to it in later stages. All right, well, that's been this lesson, and I hope it helps you out, and I hope you have a great day. All right, see you later. Bye.